Well, isn't this something? Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome back to Frontier Pilot Simulator. I'm getting really excited for Microsoft Flight Simulator coming later this year, and I'm really hoping to see some more flight games in general on PC and everywhere else. This game available now on PC. We've covered it before, but it's just beautiful, and the developers are doing a good job of adding more and more realism to it. Right now we're in this giant cargo aircraft that can transport passengers and cargo anywhere across this planet. Essentially, think of like a different version of Mars, where it kind of has a more maybe hospitable environment, though human beings still need to be out in a spacesuit. This is a vibrant world that has all sorts of different machines and bases and mining and all sorts of different craziness to it. Let's take a look inside the aircraft too, by the way. They have a fully modeled cockpit where you can see all these cool little buttons, yourself in a spacesuit, and all these other cool throttles, which I think move when you interact with them. Let me see here. No, not quite yet, but maybe sometime in the future. If you like games like No Man's Sky, if you like Elite Dangerous and such, this might be something to check out if you haven't seen it already. But what I'm going to try to do is down that way there's a runway. I'm going to try to taxi to it and take off. I'm right now basically playing with my Logitech, my Thrustmaster T16000. It's got like a throttle and a separate joystick. It's pretty cool. I hope to use that in the future. In front of you right there is a giant thermal vent, which is rotating a giant fan that's producing power for this base here. And if we take a look at the map, there's some really crazy big areas to this whole map. I think they've been adding a lot more stuff. There's so much stuff, I don't even know where it is, honestly. There's like a giant maybe like a donut island here that resembles Mars, and then an area over here where you kind of start at that really reminds me a lot of like Iceland or Greenland or Norway, mix of all those places, and it's really cool. But anyway, let's go ahead and fly this thing around. We're going to find a target. If you like games like American Truck Simulator or Euro Truck Simulator, this is kind of like the same too. And there's another cool game coming out called Dead Stick. Has something to do with like being an Alaskan bush pilot, so you can actually transport cargo around there. Let's see if I can get back to the main menu here. We have contact, service drones, all these other things that we can go to, by the way, before we leave. It also marks out natural, like, geographic wonders that you can fly by if you want to, but then also areas that are very different, like, for example, mining or maybe food growth and stuff. There's, like, fish, for example. There's, like, oil platforms out here somewhere that you can go to, and ships and things like that. But anyway, let's get out of this menu, if I can. And go and find out where we're going. Let's see if we can zoom in on something here. If we right-click, oh yeah, we can right-click and create a waypoint if we want to. But right now we're here at this mine. Gives you some detail about it. Largest station on the planet and still continuing to evolve. So we're actually at the biggest station here, which has an airfield and all sorts of other stuff. And then, of course, we can transport any of these goods on the right side. So things like, for example, water to from here to some other place and whatnot. I'm going to just try to take off and land somewhere if we can. We can actually use vertical takeoff and landing in this game. So you can VTOL or you can taxi and take off. I think taxiing and taking off is much more interesting, though I am having trouble getting out of this menu. I'm pressing M again. It doesn't seem to be bringing up anything. Oh, there we go. All right, cool. So we're going to taxi to the runway here, which is on our right side. The landing pad is to our left, so we can actually land here. And behind me, there's this giant building behind me is a hangar in which we can get all of our upgrades. We'll take a look at that when we get a little further away. Let me switch to the mouse just for a second, as it's just a little easier to taxi with WASD at the moment. So giant hangar behind us where we can upgrade and get our vehicle repaired. If you crash, that's where you happen to go to, by the way. You get a little escape pod. But look at how cool this world is around us. The developers poke me from time to time and say, hey, there's some new fresh updates. And I always remember this game, and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to go back and try that again. Like, legitimately, this is getting to be a more and more beautiful game, and it's getting to be more interesting with more cargo, and a lot of people giving a lot of good feedback on what they want to see next, how the world could evolve. There's also weather effects in the world, too. So there's like things like storm and heavy cloud cover. So it makes it a lot more challenging than just drive from point A to point B, though a lot of that is kind of the same. So in this game, we can also pick up passengers and, you know, pick them up from locations and drop them off too. So we do have the ability to transport passengers and cargo and deliver them for essentially money. You can see in the corner we have 0 credits. But really, you only need money in this game in order to purchase anything such as, upgrades for your vehicle or any sort of other cargo. I think actually in this game we have to buy cargo and then sell it at a higher price. So basically we pay like a fee to hold on to it, and then we get that fee back and then a little bit of a bonus for delivering it. So let's see here. I've been trying to set up my controller in order to drive with the joystick, and I just couldn't quite get it, though it might be something they're still working on, though there's a lot of joystick and controller support for this game, which makes it a lot more enjoyable, I think, to play with a joystick. It's like when you play, again, ATS in Euro Truck. If you're not playing it with the steering wheel, you're just not getting the full experience. Oh, actually, look at that. We can take out stuff all over the tarmac, too. So we just took out a light there, and there's a giant boulder just sitting there for some reason. Okay, that's interesting. All right, well, let's get ready to taxi onto the runway, and we'll try to get a little bit more professional here as we snuggle up to the tarmac and prepare for a takeoff here. It'd be cool if there was like some sort of ATC. I got ATS and Euro Truck on the mind. I'm excited to play some more of those DLCs too. But anyway, let's square ourselves away. I think we're going to need every inch of runway, so I'm just going to back this thing up. Typically, we'd be fine where we're at, but I'm just going to get every little single bit of the runway that I can. You can see how giant this cargo aircraft is too. We're basically right up here in the nose of the craft. So when we go into that first person, we're tucked in there. So this thing's like a giant, like decommissioned military craft that now is hauling cargo everywhere. So let's go back into first person. Actually, no, let's stay in third person here so you can see the landing gear, rather the wings fold out. There we go. And then, of course, the landing gear, I believe, is set to auto fold in. But it's okay. We'll figure it out as we go. I haven't played this in a while, so I'm incredibly rusty. Not that I was good to begin with. So let's go ahead and get ready to take off down the runway. And it might be a little bit more interesting in third person. So let's go ahead and get things going with the ignition. And there we go. We are clear for takeoff, I suppose. We're the only aircraft here. And we'll try to adjust our takeoff here. Hopefully we don't clip a wing. There we go. And we are off. And there you go. You see the landing gear pulling up. And my goodness, is it risky getting past this mountain, but I think we've done it. My goodness, we've done it. Barely. Woo! Okay. So this mode is much more fuel efficient than the VTOL mode, though VTOL is absolutely necessary if you're going to land on a something like a aircraft on maybe an oil rig or a ship. Some of the ships are equipped with, believe it or not, they actually have like landing pads on them so you can pick up or drop off cargo for cargo ships too, which is pretty cool, or drop off people such as research scientists and whatnot. Let's go into first person now and see how this looks from first person. Oh yeah, it seems like we're not even flying when we're up here like this. Ooh, this thing handles like a giant ship itself. Well, I guess it is technically. So there's a lot of great detail to the world around you, and there's tons of different jobs and radio chatter that go on, little stories deploy. It's a little cringe, to be honest. The voice acting is not like the greatest, but I feel like it's just placeholders for what could be in the future. The community around this game has continued to support it for years, and it's beautiful. It's nice to see the improvements over this game. When I first started playing it, I'm like, oh, this will really never go anywhere, but then it did, and the community and the developers kept working on it, and it's really something to behold. Let's see how close we're coming to the... I love these camera angles. Those are really nice. Okay, let's go back into third person here. So it looks like we can also... one thing that I can remember is you can actually find like crash sites of other pilots and like take their cargo or rescue people and get money that way. There's also a giant... yeah, that's right. There's a giant like flying aircraft carrier up here that I'm just remembering about. Let's see if we can fly up there and land on that thing. You can see in the lower left corner is our fuel consumption. Well, at the top you can see our fuel consumption. You see where it says 15 minutes, 50 seconds? That's basically how long we can fly along like this until we're going to need to recharge, which in this game they consider to be energy, which we're basically burning fuel, but they consider it to be energy. So you can see the capacity of our fuel tank remaining is like 160, and the time in which we run out of fuel is displayed at the top. So the heavier the cargo that we're hauling, and you know, the method of our flight, for example, if we're flying against the wind, that counts. There's different ways to see that too. If we go into this mode, you can see where the wind is blowing, and you can see where the ground is. It's kind of a weird 1980s like flight simulator there, but this is how the game truly looks. Great transition there too, by the way, between those two modes. It used to kind of be rocky, but they've really made some nice improvements to this game. My favorite thing about this game too is that you can fly from like a research base to a mining base to an oil rig to like a waterfall research site, and there's many different things to haul. Basic stuff like water and food, and batteries and such that they need in order to get their equipment working. And then sometimes you're hauling drones back and forth in order to get them repaired or charged up again at certain stations. So that's pretty interesting, I'd say. It's very peaceful just flying around this world. And this part of the planet, like I mentioned, is kind of more like it's like the dead part of the planet. It's like a giant desert island, but there's plenty of resources here, though it is a lot more windy and aggressive than the other parts. In the other parts of the island, they've added a lot more wildlife now. Not wildlife, but flora. Things like mushrooms and things that make it look a little bit more alive than just a texture map. But got to be confident here. I think they've really made some good changes to this game so far. If you're watching this now, too, during a Steam summer or winter sale, consider picking it up as, it could be on a good sale there. And I think what they want for this game is pretty fair, especially since it's really delivered on a few promises of... there we go. A few promises of what they said they would do and turned out to be correct and true later on. All right, we're approaching the Cargo Spaceway, which is like it is a flying aircraft carrier, and we're going to go ahead and try to slow things down here. We're closing in on it pretty quickly, and I'm going to try to go into our VTOL mode, which stands for vertical takeoff and landing, and in this case, of course, we're going to be doing the landing here. And the whole front of the carrier is basically packed with cargo, so I don't think we can land in on it, from what I remember, unless they've changed that. Oh boy. Oh yeah, looks like the runway is actually clear now. Oh, they used to... Oh no, they still do have crates and stuff out there. Darn it. Alright, we're going to try to park here. That was really smooth transition. For me being super rusty, I won't be able to land it perfectly, but at least I won't blow up the landing gear. But we can always adjust. Almost catching the crane there, but that's okay. We'll blame it on the wind. There we go. Alright, so a pretty good takeoff and a pretty good landing. I didn't die, so that's good. Let's go ahead and tuck ourselves in here. And we can go into the hangar there to get different upgrades. That's another cool thing about this game is you can upgrade your vehicle's ability to hold more amounts of fuel or to have more powerful engines or to have different types of wings. And if you do that, of course, that's what you do is you pay money in order to get those upgrades. Oh, looks like the runway is clear. You just probably want to go around that cargo. Why would they put that there? That's kind of a weird spot. Cargo is actually picked up and held here, though. And if you... let's see if we can actually do this. If you check the back of the aircraft, I wonder if I can do this with my joystick. Okay, that's the... Alright, let's try this one. Just going to try to see what buttons I have here to open the cargo hatch. Well, it might be this button. Well, it's some button. Anyway, one of these buttons here does something in order to open the cargo hatch. Not that one, though. And basically, the back end of the aircraft will open up, and then we can put cargo inside and out. I wanted to see if we could get that going, but I can't quite remember what button it is on the joystick. So, for example, if we're going to ship food and water, then that crane there will actually put it into the back of our spaceship, and there's actually a crane that will come out the back. So this crane will drop it here, and then the cargo will go in and out of the aircraft based on, if we're buying it or if we're selling it. Let's go ahead and see what's available here for jobs. I think if we open up the... Oh, if we press the trigger button, we can open the trade interface. Oh, there you go. That's what I was looking for. Perfect. So that's exactly what I meant. So these are the delivery fees for these. I think we need to start with... Oh, yeah, insufficient funds. Yeah, so we'll need... we have to pay them money, basically, in order to hold on to the cargo. Oop. Oh, okay, so energy's free. I didn't know if we... Oh, now we owe credits. Cool. Well, I've been going into the game files and just hacking the money in for demonstration purposes, but if you run out of cash, one thing you can do for money is some of the earlier basic jobs in order to get a little bit of cash. But basically what you're doing is you're paying, for example, drones, basically like an insurance fee, and when you deliver it, you get it back. So if we load it up with these drones, for example, it shows you that there are multiple locations where you can go to deliver those. The further and more difficult they are to get to, the more money they'll be worth in some cases. So you can see here, if we deliver it to the power plant, that's going to be 20,000 credits. If we deliver it to the mine where we started, that's going to be... Actually, I think we started at North 1. That's going to be 15,000, that type of thing. All based on supply and demand, and it's really easy to set up your waypoints too. If, for example, you wanted to fly to the hard mine and then the power plant because you have some other cargo in, you can do that. So if there were two different types of jobs here, one going to the hard mine and one going to the power plant, you can then stop at the hard mine on your way to the power plant, so long as you have enough space and also enough energy in your aircraft to actually take off with that heavy cargo. Well, let's go ahead and flip around here, I guess. We'll see if we can get turned around and see if we can possibly use this as a runway. There's another thing that reminds me of Homeworld's Deserts of Karak, where they're in that game. If you've ever seen the Homeworld series, there's this desert planet where they all have like aircraft carriers in the desert. They have these giant aircraft carriers that basically have treads on them to go through the desert. And there's this area in the map where there's like a mine that has a large vehicle, pretty much like this, except with treads, where you can also take off and land from. That I believe has a VTOL landing line and also a much longer, actually I think it's much shorter runway. At least it's like this and it's aimed out over the water. Beautiful. We've done all those things before. That really interests me though, getting into tight spaces. This is again the largest cargo aircraft in the game, and then there's a medium size and a small size. Oh, there's actually a passenger up there in the middle of the thing there. Actually, if we go chat with that passenger, we might actually be able to get a job. I think passengers are transported for free, so let's just kind of taxi up here and go see what that person wants. Also, one thing I've noticed is when we're using the, when we're actually taxiing, we're using energy, which to me it's like, it should really only be consumed by the engines, because this is so minuscule doing this like this. No one's going to drive like this to their destination, but still pretty cool that you have the option to like taxi to the end of the runway if you want to. We could take off going back that way, but that's going to take forever. So let's go ahead and see what we've got here for this passenger. Each of them has their own quests and stories. For example, you could take corporate people from one place to another, or you could bring them to several locations, and or scientists from where they're stationed now to some sort of switch or something like that. Let's see if we can actually get this guy. Usually there's a green square or something that'll pop up around them. Here we are. Discuss route. So he wants transit somewhere, so let's see here what we can do. Let's see. Capture, blah, blah. Can you help? Yes, we can. Let's see. Good. Okay, oh, he's actually getting on now, so let's see the back end of the ship open up here. Cool, so he's actually getting on board. That was nice. And I think we can haul multiple passengers, too. There's quite a few. This is almost like a space C-130 or something like that. The Regular Transit. Weather is peculiar today. Okay, so we need to go to the Regular Transit. Let's see where that is. Did it auto-mark for us? That's the quarry. Let's see if it actually marked where that is. The Regular... I wonder if this auto-marked here. This is the quarry at M&T. That actually might be where that large... I don't know if it's modeled here, but that might be where I want to go to take off from that huge thing. This might be kind of cool. I don't know if that's actually where I want to go, though. I don't see anything here marked Regular. Bora, exit, C. I'm also thinking about buying my own ship, but with the family and second job, I don't have enough time to get a license. Oh, he's making small chat with us. Nice. Well, let's go ahead and see if we can take off here. Whoa, the weather did get particular. Holy crap. We're like in the middle of a storm right now. You know, it'd be really funny is if I just drove over the edge of the, what if I just kind of, ooh, we're actually taking some damage now. The flaps are taking some big damage from the wind. I can't even reverse. He also wants to get there in 5 minutes. Let's see, set destination as target. Right thumb button, what is that? Set destination as target. Okay, so he wants to go over there. Now we see it. Right, well, we don't have any time to spare. I guess we're taking some big damage up here, so let's ignite the engines. We're just going to fly over the edge. Luckily, we're high enough to where we can gain enough speed. Oh, boy. Holy... Whoa, okay, hold on. Oh, boy. Oh, we're going down. Okay, this is not good. Got to get out of this wind. Oh, sir. Oh, okay. I hope he buckled up. This is not going to be good. We're dead. We're so dead. Oh, we are so dead. Wow, the weather changed in an instant. He was not wrong about that. Although, let's take a look at the destination. So now we go into the escape pod, and basically he's with us, and he's folded his arms. He's very upset. But I wanted to see if we could check the destination on the map there. And I don't know if we could have gotten there in 5 minutes or so, but let's go back to the hard mine. This is actually kind of cool. So whenever your ship explodes like that, you're kind of punished by having your credits almost go down to 0. But taking those passenger jobs are pretty easy. You can actually switch back to one of your smaller craft. And the smaller craft are actually better for this type of job because they're more fuel efficient, they can travel a lot faster, and they're more nimble, so they can go through all these spaces. Oh, this is nice. We actually get to see some of the plant life I was mentioning, things like mushrooms and whatnot. We're going back to the hard mine. This is where I wanted to go, honestly. I love taking off from this hard mine. Actually like to try to do a landing. I think, all in all, in this game, I've only ever done VTOL landings. It's just near impossible to take off with the VTOL. Oh, this does not have the runway. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It's got to, I think. I hope. Oh, no, actually, that's the North 1 site. So we're landing somewhere else where we're going to take off VTOL-wise, I think. We can also change ships, too, which I might be interested in trying to land with one of those, though they would just be more profitable at this point. I think we could... oh, no, we can't change ships at any thing, at any hangar. We have to go to specific locations. So I guess we'll redeploy with this one. Again, it really doesn't cost us anything. In fact, we earned money from that. We were negative 700. Now our money went back to 0. Thank God for insurance companies, I guess. Okay, cool. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Careful there. Careful. Okay, let's go over to this VTOL area. And you can see that there's taxiways that allow us to go to other areas to pick up passengers, like, for example, down there on the left, or over here on the left side, too. There could be people who spawn over there on that green square. Why is there all this junk out here? That's really weird. There's literally just junk blocking the runway. Can I drive through the... Okay, well, I mean, you know, you are blocking a landing pad, people. What is this? Oh, why is all this stuff here? That shouldn't be. It should all be over here organized. All right, let's do a little takeoff here and see if we can land somewhere else. Let's go ahead and ignite the engines, and let's just take off from here. I love that little camera on the right side, by the way. It's nice that this game is forgiving, too. It's not like crashing your aircraft, which is easy to do with all these winds and non-Earth-like scenarios. It's nice that there is some forgiveness to it. You don't want to be, you know, a millionaire and then suddenly be bankrupt after one mistake. That wouldn't be a fun game. Okay, there's the quarry at M&T. That's 70 kilometers away. We could go to the north section and try to actually land, but I feel that's going to be difficult. All right, we're going to go ahead and switch now to the flaps. Or, sorry, flight mode, which means the wings and flaps come down. And I'm trying to keep the nose down. There we go. And try to have pitch, roll, and yaw go the way we want. Cool. So I love looking at some of the things in this game, like the geysers and like where we started, that giant natural geothermal thing coming out of the ground. It is fun to make money in this game, but it's even better to look at some of the natural beauty of the planet. I always forget the name of it. Basically just Mars with water on it, really. So we could go to the M&T quarry and see if we can land on that giant thing. Man, I need to make a bet with the developers if I could land once on any runway in the game, including the flying carrier or the north base or wherever, anything that has a runway. If I could put my gear down and somehow touch down, man, they'd owe me a pizza or something. It's a challenge I really want to make. But I guess in a game like this, in a single-player game, you do whatever you want. I mean, it is your game to, you know, if you want to fly in a medium aircraft all the time, you can do that. If you want to fly in the small one, you can do that. If you want to be a passenger service and do passengers only. Although it's just more beneficial just to do variety. Let's go to the M&T quarry and kind of coast along the way. So what do you think about this game at this point, by the way? Is this something you think you'd buy on Steam? Is this something that you'd like for consoles? This is definitely something I want to see more of on the channel when there's more updates and such. I want to see more islands, too. I think there might be, but they're a little hard to kind of find unless you know they're there. I didn't even know this island was here until, like, after I played the first island for a really long time. I was like, oh, this is it? It's just a small island? Nope. Huge other section of the map that I didn't even know was there. If you guys haven't already, make sure you go ahead and click or tap that like button, too, to let me know you'd like to see more flight sims on the channel. And also subscribe if you're new around these parts, too. Appreciate everybody's support and saying hello and stuff. Because these are really nice games that I wish were multiplayer, and it'd be nice if we could fly with other people. But I guess we can settle for pretending that there's other, you may have seen earlier, other craft that are flying around. And it's kind of nice to pretend that those are, you know, our colleagues out there. Trying to get a little lower now to the ground so we can see the beauty of the planet. We still see some really nice mushroom-like structures. I don't even know what they are, if they're homes for creatures or if they're an actual plant. I would assume it's a plant. Fungi, I suppose. Like me, I'm a pretty fun guy too. Also, I believe there's aquatic life underneath the water, as there is fishing and such that go on. There's fishing industries, there's mining. I believe there's a little tourism in here too, though a lot of the people who might be on tours are actually like scientists. Let's pick up the pace here a little bit and see if we can reach our destination. We are about max at 398. I'm assuming that's meters per second. On the left side, yeah, you can actually see our speed, 216. And our altitude is on the right. It is a little difficult to keep this craft level. I think there is a autopilot mode. Look at those beautiful clouds. And the fog and the haze, and that we can actually see like what seems to be the interior of the craft, kind of like reflecting back upon itself, maybe. Or perhaps that's... I think actually what it might be is we're sitting in like a black cockpit that has screens all around us that simulates a view of the outside. So like what we're seeing here isn't necessarily a windshield. I like to think it is, but maybe this is just being projected onto a screen, which is what we're sitting in front of, maybe. There's all sorts of lore. That's probably how it is, but you make up whatever story you want. Okay, so the quarry coming up here is, I believe, the thing I was talking about. So it's my favorite area in the game. I really think there's some cool stuff. I'd love to see more of a winter part of this planet. See some snow and ice, and really it seems like there's biomes in this game. This one being more of the deserty, windy area. But there's still some life to be had here. Okay, we're 25 kilometers out right now. Small lake there, looking beautiful. The game does run a little choppy. I do notice I've turned all the graphics and such of this game to the highest setting, and it does seem to lose a frame every here and there, which is not something you want to see in a flight game. But it's not really too critical because we're not trying to blow up other players. We're just trying to basically fly in a straight line and not crash. Alright, we should be at our destination then in about 2 minutes. And we should be good here to land. I think also landing gear is automatic if you get close enough to the ground, so we might be able to coast in and land on something, though I believe the ground carrier basically looks like a giant Caterpillar dump truck with a aircraft carrier mounted on the back of it. Has a huge ATC which will come up on the left side, and I think it's just pretty much impossible to land. It's pretty much impossible to take off, let alone land. Alright, looks like there's some hills here, so we're going to have to pick it up, probably about 2,000 meters. And let's see where the wind's coming from. So it's blowing in all sorts of directions here. Alright, so let's take a look at what we got around us. So it looks like there's some sort of a structure down there, maybe? And here's the mining platform in front of us. Ah, there it is. Pointing out over the ocean. I'm not even going to attempt this. I think we need to go right into VTOL. And we need to go into a different view as well. Ah, there it is. So right below us is a huge mining facility. You can see an area where they're storing all their workers, I believe, off to our right. It's the workers' quarters and communications. And then maybe some storage and maintenance bays to the left. And then directly below us is the carrier area. And you can see the tracks, actually, for this giant thing. Yeah, you can see all the treads and everything for it. Yeah, look at this thing. Oh, yeah, there was no way I was going to land on this. You can see where the ATC is on our right side. The green building with the cone coming out of the top there. And we'll just land any way we can, just to try to set her down. Try to be gentle. Ooh, whoa. Wind's picking up now. Oh, it's going to turn us around, I think. No, now it's letting off again. And let's cut the engines there. Woo! Okay. Well, that's going to have to be the challenge of myself, is landing actually back on this thing. This is exactly what I was talking about. I'm glad I found it and that I remembered it. Wow, cool. Solar panels actually functioning on the runway there. Very cool. Looks like this thing maybe drove out here, and here's the tracks from it coming all this way. Driving along the surface of the planet. And there's the giant quarry down there, too. So there's actually ore at the bottom of it. I wonder if we could fly down there and pick that up and maybe bring it back up here or something. Okay, let's get taxied around. I do like taking off, although landing is a whole different story in this game. You know what? To be honest, it might be more than possible to land an aircraft on here with the smaller aircraft. I'll have to actually do that one day, but I just love the big one so much. It took me so long to kind of figure out how to get it and get access to it, and now it's just really nice to be able to fly it around. I think the other, this is called the ballerina. No, that's not the quite the name. I think it's Spanish for whale, and then the other two are ox and scarab. So the ox probably could land here, but the scarab definitely could do so. Wow, look at that crane functioning up there, moving cargo around. Again, I think that's yeah. There's a mining thing that you can actually see there, one of those large mining wheels. And then up top, cruise quarters, and maybe like a control tower of some sort or some storage. Okay, let's take a little takeoff here and get her done. Now that that ATC on the right side is going to be real dangerous. I think we need to scoot over just a hair, and then we'll give it a shot. I think we might need to switch back to VTOL to move. Yep. Okay. All right. So yeah, this game is really cool. You may have seen me play it before, but I just like to come in here every once in a while and putz around, especially when the developers have upgraded the graphics and things look very gorgeous and much different, and I like that. Okay, let's go ahead and prepare for takeoff, and here we go. Ignition on the engines. Full throttle, baby. Can't pull back at all on that. Oh, nice. Cleared the tower. And we're up in the air. Awesome. Wow, we did it. Really beautiful. Really want to take... I'll have to do a land... Should we do a landing? There's no way I can. But the Scarab, I think, is what I want to land with. I don't know how slow this thing can go when it lands. Like, I don't know if there's brakes or anything. Let's try to come around. I was going to end the video there. But for those of you still watching, I want you to type in the comments section right now. Go ahead and open it up. I'll give you a second. And in all caps, type in... Oh, he landed it or something. People will think I actually landed it. Some people don't watch these things all the way through, so let's just trick them. Okay, so we're getting hit by electromagnetic forces now, which kind of prevents us from going too high. So let's make our turn the other direction. There we go. And where's that quarry? Oh, I've already lost it. And this thing handles like a dump truck taped to a freight train. Oh, there it is. Okay. The camera's moved. Oh, that's making it trickier to fly. There we go. The camera went all the way behind us. Okay. I think it's pretty much impossible to land on this thing, but... Oh my gosh, guys, look at that. I landed it. Oh, the comments say so. Awesome. Cool. Landed it with no difficulty at all. I guess the developers owe me a pizza. Oh, yeah, there ain't no way. Nope, nope. ATC. ATC. Oh, boy. And that's fine. That's fine. And we landed it. Technically, I did. Not safely, but I did. At least I landed on the carrier. All right, guys, that's going to be it for my episode of Frontier Pilot Simulator. Thanks again for the devs for reaching out, reminding me to test this game out from time to time. It's not perfect, neither is my flying, but it's fun, and that's exactly what games should be. And it's nice to be able to make some money, transport some cargo, and it is a relaxing game. Put on some Motley Crue or some Metallica or something like that, and just fly around and have some fun. Make some good credits. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, have a great day, and thanks for being the best community on YouTube. You guys are the best. Bye.